Audrey. Hello, everybody. As usual, I am slow to get my shit together, but we are getting there. So I'm going to tie up a couple loose ends here on my end. I'm going to write down the link of the charity that I'd like to support today. Hey, Patty, how you doing? Let's see. Come on, let me type. I don't know what is going on with my iPad lately, but it has not been very responsive, that's for sure. So I'm just going to get the link of the organization that I want to support today. We're going to say copy link, and I'm going to put it in my my link tree, the link tree version that I use. You're lagging? Are you kidding me? No. It was good. Are we experiencing issues with lagging? You want me to write down the tool size? That would be good for everybody to have handy. So copy link. I need to go here. So we're going to be going through the pattern for this sunflower dot mandala. It's a pattern that I've done a couple times before. And it's a really fun one and definitely is a crowd pleaser. And, you know, there's been a lot of incredible fundraisers that have been happening over the last little while, including a 24-hour marathon that I was lucky enough to get to participate in yesterday, and just fundraising to help Ukraine. And when I was kind of looking at how I wanted to do something, because I knew I wanted to do something, you know, that I thought of donating some money for some sales, having some products, doing some kind of giveaway raffle kind of idea. And I thought I really wanted to stick with what I think is one of the things that I do really well, and that is teach people how to paint these mandalas. So normally, I don't do full-length tutorials like this anymore. I used to do workshops where we would do full walkthroughs. There's lots of reasons that I can get into at some point if you want to hear them of why I don't do them now. But this is a special occasion. So thank you guys so much for coming to sit and paint with me. If you are going to paint along with me, I will tell you my tool sizes. I'm going to be using my DIY mandala stone tools. Now, where I'm not going to be able to tell you an actual size for the tool is when it comes to the nail dotting stylus tools, but I'll show you a couple of tools so you can compare the ones that you have when we look at size differences compared to a straight tool. So we'll look at that sort of stuff as we go. I'm just going to get this link together. Bear with me. This morning started off with a couple of unexpected things as usual. Hi, Jan. As per usual, right? So now let's go here. We're going to go add new link on at top. donate to you animals. Paste the URL. So when you go to the link that's in my bio, you will now see at the very top a link to okay, perfect. A link to donate to You Animals charity. Now, You Animals charity is a Ukrainian charity that is helping to make sure that people and their pets, rescues, animal shelters, zoos are getting food and veterinary care for their animals. People who are trying to escape or can't escape that need care for their animals. It's trying to help get some care to those people. Any gifts that I am given here on TikTok today, I will be donating the cash value of those to this charity as well. Hi, Wonder. And if I, and then the mugs that I'm going to be painting, just like this one here, are going to be available for sale on my website next weekend. And 100% of those sales for these sunflower mugs will also get donated as well. A lot of different people are doing donations collected through PayPal, and there's a reason why I'm not going to do that today. I would much rather that you donate directly to the association if you are called to do so. I don't like the idea of being the middleman for some money like that. I would much rather, if you're called to donate, wonderful. If not, sitting and painting sunflowers and being a loving, wonderful family like you guys always are is, I think, the best way that we can spend some time and put some love and support out there, regardless. So I'm not tracking to see how much money we donate. I don't want to celebrate any of that. I just want to say, if you are looking for something to donate if this charity calls to you, then that would be a lovely way to support. And that would also be a lovely thank you to me, because I don't want any money for this tutorial. So a little thank you of a donation is always an option, but never, ever, ever expected. Okay. So, that being said, hi, Sabrina. How you doing? I'm glad you're able to pop in and say hello. So depending on what you guys are painting on, I was going to do an incense holder. I'm actually going to do another mug. So I'm going to go over the mug prep, and then we can talk about actually getting started here. So how are we doing for signal? Are we doing all right? Can you guys hear me okay and see me okay? All right, just taking a drink there. Am I live on another platform? No. Thanks. Okay, awesome. Hi, Cindy. Thanks, Jan. Awesome. Good to know. Purple Batman. So no, I'm not live on another platform. That's weird. Oh, yay. I'm glad you're doing good, Doris. Fantastic. I'm so happy for good signal. All right, so let us paint, shall we? All right. Put a whole bunch of sunflowers out there in the world is never a bad thing. And to be able to show support for Ukraine as well, I think just adds to it. Just feels a little extra warm and fuzzy. So if you are painting on stone, wood, or canvas, as long as you have something that will accommodate a design that will be approximately 5 inches in diameter. Now, if you're painting on something smaller, that's okay. We can talk about modifications for that. If you get to a point where you're running out of space, that might happen as well. Remembering that we're all going to dot in completely different ways. And so I might squeeze more rows in, or I might do a lot fewer rows depending on each other's style, right? So when you're following along with this pattern and painting along with me here, it's really about listening to yourself. Don't add more than you feel your piece is ready to have added to it. And yeah, let's just paint together. So normally what I do on my lives, as you guys know, is that once I get painting, I kind of zone out and I stay away from the comments a bit, and then I take these breaks and I come back and forth. Now, this is the first time I've ever done a live where an entire project is going to be completed, so we're going to be here for a while. If you can't stay for the whole thing, if you miss the beginning, please don't panic. I am going to, as long as the recording works here in TikTok, I'm going to download this video and I'm going to put it up on YouTube as my first YouTube video. So I will share the link all across my social media, including, I'll put it in the link in my bio, and so you can access this recording at any time that you like, at any time for free on my YouTube channel. So that'll be lovely. So if you are painting on something flat, it might be a little bit different. Your design might spread out a little bit more, but just kind of play it by ear. Now, the brown that I use in the center here, this is a metallic espresso that is a Craft Smart multi-surface acrylic paint. So I'm going to be using multi-surface acrylic paints. You can be using craft acrylics, heavy-bodied acrylics, whatever your preference is. What you're looking for here is you're looking to have 3 different colors of yellow, and a brown or a gold would work well there also, right? So 3 different colors of yellow that you're looking for, and they're going to be yellow 1, 2, and 3. Okay, yellow number 1 is going to be the darkest yellow you have. Okay, yellow number 2 is going to be your mid-range yellow, and yellow number 3 is going to be your lightest yellow. Okay, I'm going to write that down on a cue card. 3 yellows. Number 1, dark. Number 2, okay. So this is what you want to have. So you want to have 3 yellows, and then you want to have a brown or gold. If you have a brown acrylic paint and a gold acrylic paint, you could probably mix it to create an espresso type color like the metallic one that I've got here. Mix in a little gold with your brown paint and that should do just fine. So I am going to grab that piece of paper that you suggested, and I'm going to write down the row number and the tool size so that we have that for reference. And when I pull this up on screen every once in a while, you guys can take screenshots if you like, if that's helpful as well. So we are going to go for row number. Oh, this pen's dying. All right. Row number, color, tool size. So I'm creating a very basic chart. If you guys have a piece of paper and a pen beside you and want to mimic this chart as we go through, this way, even if you have to do some adjustments or take a break and come back, whatever you hear will be on here, and I'll make sure to pull this up on the screen on a regular basis to let you know where we're at as we progress through here, okay? Now, normally on a live, I will paint a little bit and then pause and come back to the comments. Because I've never done a full piece in one live sitting before, I want to try and be as efficient as humanly possible. So as you're painting along with me, if you have questions, I will be glancing over at the comments to try and stay on top of it. I'm just not going to stay there for too long. If you have a question or a comment that you need me to answer for you, can you please put my name in the comment? That will catch my attention and let me know that this is something I need to ask, to look at before we move on too far. Okay. Or put up a Q&A, anything like that to help catch my attention, if you don't mind. I will do my best to come back, but I'm going to try and keep conversation to a minimum. And with that being said, that is a perfect segue to say, I'm going to shut up and let's start painting. For the mug, I'm using multi-surface acrylic paints. You can use porcelain paints, glass paints, enamel paints. They will all work as well. When you are painting on a glass or ceramic surface, you want to wipe down that surface with some isopropyl alcohol first, just to get any dust and oils off. Now you're still going to get some on the mug because you're going to be handling it, but you know, it's totally not going to impact it too much. And you can always go back over it again with like a cotton swab if you have a couple little spots that you want to clean off. And we're going to let that dry for a quick second. And I'm going to adjust my camera, turn you over here. So again, we've got our yellows, our brown and gold. Okay. And I'm just going to move something else because I put my notepad on the wrong side and now I don't have space to write. I'm right-handed and I put it on my left-hand side. Like that was a good decision, but it's okay. It's fine. We're fine. Okay, so we're going to wipe down our surface. If you're painting on something else and you've got your base coat, you're good to go. Make sure you've got your guidelines on there. If you have guidelines on there or if you don't have guidelines on there, it's totally personal preference. When it comes to the guidelines, you're not going to really need them, but they can always help you for your own personal reference, right? But I'm not going to be using guidelines, so I'll explain as I go how I'm going to line up all of the different dots, okay? Now, all right, for the very first center dot, I'm going to use a size 23 of the DIY Mandala Stones tools, okay? That's going to be the main tool that I'm using, nail dotting stylus tools as well. Now, on my mug, I'm going to be painting on the opposite side of the handle. So I'm just kind of looking at the mug here, just to try and kind of line up where I want my center dot to be. I want it to be across from this handle. You can even use your dotting tool or a flexible tape measure if you want to help you kind of keep it all in line. And then, like, I could do this and then I'd still be off to the side a little bit. It's not going to be an exact science, but that's okay. But right about there is my center. Now, one thing that I want to point out that I did, that it took me a really long time to learn to do it in this order, a lot longer than maybe it should have, is to make sure that I have my paint open before I start to line up where I want my dot to be on the mug. If you're painting on a canvas, any size center dot that you want, if you want to make it a slightly bigger piece or if you need to make it a smaller piece, that's totally okay. The formula that we're going to use for creating our symmetry is going to work no matter what size your center dot is, okay? If you're painting on a candle holder, you don't need to worry about the center dot. We're going to skip right past that part. So now I am not only making sure that I'm aligned with my handle across the way, but I am now making sure that it looks like I'm about 50-50 equal distance. We will take a couple pee breaks, of course, throughout this. I'm anticipating that we're going to be here for a good 3 hours. Could even be more than that. But that again is why I want to make sure that I'm trying to progress the pattern as quick as I can. When you are getting your pattern started, putting down the center dot and the very first row, in my opinion, are two of the most important parts of the entire piece, right? Having a really nice, round, smooth looking center dot, especially when it's going to play such a focal role in your piece, is just really, really satisfying. It's nice when it's kind of all laid out and looks nice and smooth. And then the first row of dots that we're going to put around this is going to be the foundation for the spacing for the entire rest of the piece. So we want to really, really take our time. Once the first row is done, we can tend to speed up a little bit more. But in the beginning, at least, that's where we really want to take our time. So if you're going to take any part of the dot mandala a little bit slower than others, the center dot and the first row are definitely the places that you want to do that. And I'm completely distracted by the sticker on the bottom of my mug, so I have to pick it off. So bear with me for my little tangent here for a second. It's an unusual way to do a live like this because I'm so used to sitting and chatting with you guys. So I do apologize that I'm not going to be doing quite as much interacting today. I have very questionable confidence levels on how long this design is going to take. And I'm not nervous or concerned in any way. I just, I'm interested to see how this goes. Which I'm also going to write down my start time because I think that's interesting too. So we started at, let's say, 12:20 was when we started painting. Another thing to say about your center dot, especially if you're painting on mugs or glasses or anything like that, the paint, when it's a little more fluid, if you're painting on anything that is sitting up like this, the paint could start to slide down and you could start to see kind of almost like a little pot belly that will form. So going in with a dotting tool, and you can do this on canvas as well. If you don't want to have that little kind of bubble in the middle, you just kind of coax the paint around towards the edge and it will create a very uniform, nice, flat, smooth center dot without any of the natural, the way that the paint kind of builds up or doesn't kind of flow out to be even. So, and also too, if you are having a hard time getting a nice smooth dot that looks kind of pleasing to you when you look at it, don't be afraid to add more paint, okay? Again, this goes for no matter what you're painting on. So with the brown and gold for the center, we're gonna do another row after this. So our very first row is going to be also done in this brown, okay? So we're doing size 23. And then we're going to do micro brown. I'm just writing this down. Oh, for Pete's sake. This is 23. Micro brown. And this is row 1. And this is row 2. Oh, this is fun. Okay. This happens when I'm doing patterns when I'm by myself too. I have to scratch things out an awful lot and start over. Okay, so let's talk about centering and taking our time laying down this very first row. Okay, this is the most important row, and this is the row that if you take your time with it too, it can set up really good spacing for you so that you might not even really need a lot of guidelines going forward. Okay? Oh no, Patty. Oh no. No, no, no. There we go. So the center dot is size 23. And then I'm going to use my micro dotter for my first row. Oh, Patty, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm glad that there's not Sherry. That's good. That's okay, Barb. No worries. So first row is size 23. Second row is the micro dotter. So let's talk spacing. This again is where we can set up our entire mandala by really taking our time here. I set up every single first row exactly the same way all the time. And this is how I build out spacing on other elements as we get going as well, as I use the same kind of thinking. So the first thing I'm going to do, so let's talk about the tool actually for a second. So this is a micro dotter. Okay, that's what we call it here anyway. It's actually a clay sculpture tool. You get it on Amazon. My friend Jan sent these ones to me. You can get different ones. You can also find tools at Dollar Tree. Now, I haven't found that these are great for doing really tiny dots consistently, like walking dots, but they do very nice little teeny tiny detail dots. And one of them is a lot smaller. So this tool is really, really good for pulling paint down into the shape that you want it to be in for the swoop. So I'm going to use this micro dotter, and I am going to do my first row with this one. A lot of people struggle with the micro dotter. So if you do not have a micro dotter, if you do not enjoy using your micro dotter, if it gives you trouble, then go to whatever the sharpest, pointiest tool is that you have that you know does work well for you. Whether it's a sharp toothpick, whether it's the end of a sharpened pencil, a mechanical pencil, your straight dotting tool, whatever that thing is that can give you some fairly tiny dots and work well for you, okay? Now, when I'm doing this first row, I definitely go a lot slower than I do in other rows, and I'm going to be much more vigilant about cleaning off my tool on a very regular basis. Okay, so, and I'm also going to make sure that I'm not putting a ton of paint on the tool. So already I'm in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get 1, maybe 2 dots out of each dip into the paint before I need to clear off the tool. So I'm going to do 1. I want my dots to be really, really tiny. You do not have to start this tiny. Again, everything that we're going to do is going to work no matter how many dots you end up with on each of these rows, okay? I could end up with 30 dots in here and you might end up with 32 and you end up with 16. It's okay. All right. So I dot at 12 o'clock and then I turn it again and then I dot at 12 o'clock again. Now I'm going to turn it sideways so that I've got 9 and 3 o'clock, and I'm going to dot at 12 o'clock again, and then I'll turn it. And so, yep. Now for me, I find that I'm never sure if I've put this dot in the right spot until I turn the piece around and I can see it this way. And this, I'm a little bit to the left, but not too bad, so I'm okay with that. And then I know when I go across from here, I can kind of compensate by kind of sticking to the side there, okay? Even shut down. Oh no, Patty. I'm so sorry. I'll do my absolute best to get this video up on YouTube as quickly as I can. If you're painting along, let us know what you're painting on. Even though I can't jump in there, if that would be still interesting to see. Oh, sorry. That was noisy. All right. So now that we have our north, south, east, and west poles, our 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock, now we're going to follow the same idea for the rest of this row until there is not any more room for any more dots. And that is we're now going to go and we're going to start dividing each of these spaces in half. So I'm going to dip my tool and then halfway between this one and this one, I'm going to place a dot. Halfway here. Once I get those first ones done, then what I typically like to do is kind of align it so that I can draw a line from this one and try and keep it fairly straight this way. And eventually what's going to happen as you continue to divide these spaces in half, eventually you're going to come to a spot where you've got about this much space, okay? And you're going to wonder, should I put 2 dots in between there or should I put 3? Right? So here is the beautiful thing, is you can try them both. If you're not 100% sure, I would say err on the side of caution and try the 2 first. So I'm going to put 2 dots in between there. See, like so. Once I've put that down, I kind of like the spacing. I'm really happy with that spacing. So I'm not going to try the 3. But in theory, if I tried the 3, I could say, okay, well, I'm going to try here and see how I like that spacing. So I'm going to try and put 3 dots in here. And I mean, I can get it to fit, but it is tight, 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 tight. Right? So I'm not super happy with it. I don't really want to do that going forward. So if you're painting on canvas or stone, you can do this. If you're painting on mugs, ceramics, whatever you're painting on, you can do this. You can pull that paint off. I've got these dotting tools that have a silicone brush on the end. We can pull the paint off. And then once all that we're left with is dry paint, I can go in with a wooden skewer or a wooden stir stick, and it acts just like an eraser on ceramics. If I'm painting on stone or wood or canvas, then I would just go over this spot with my base color again, and then once it dries, you're good to keep going. So, depending on where you're at, but check and see for that spacing. Don't be afraid to experiment and see what's going to work. The worst thing that's going to happen is that you're going to try something that you don't like, and then you have to end up taking it off the surface and trying again, right? Oh, that's not what I wanted. That was not the right dot either. Like, where am I going with this? So don't be afraid to try and see. It's a pain in the butt, of course, to have to redo things, but if you're not 100% sure, kind of go into everything as if everything I try is going to be an experiment, right? Everything I try is going to be an experiment. And some are going to work out and some of them aren't, and that's okay, because the ones that don't work out will help me see more clearly what I want to have happen. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. I know I'm not spending a lot of time in the comments with you. I do want to try and make sure that this doesn't turn into a 5 or 6 hour tutorial because I talk too much. So normally what I would do on my lives is paint for a little bit and then stop and chat for a little bit. I really want to get going all the way through this to see what we can accomplish. So as I go around the rest of these spaces now, because I know the 2 dots are what's going to work, I can continue all the way around. Okay? Sometimes it's nice that, you can just experiment and it's so easy to fix. Now with multi-surface paints on mugs as well, there's always the option to sit and let it dry for like half an hour. With little dots like this, you'd only need about 10-15 minutes, and then go and pick the dried paint off because it's not fully cured yet. It's really easy to remove, and that can be a really good option when you don't want to try when you're trying not to smudge any neighboring paint. Okay. Oh no, Cindy. Oh no. But I am gonna come in and say hi. Hi, Christine. Sort of good or sort of morning, love? White mug, black one was too small. Yeah, that's the hard part, right? When they're just a little too small and you're like, but it's a black mug. I want to paint that on it. It looks beautiful on white too. I did my first pair of them in black and white, so definitely looks good. I have a wood round. If I do well, I'm going to put on metal end table. Ooh, that would be nice. Okay. Just watching, I get. Hope the recording works. We're doing okay. We've only got the first row on here, though. So size 23, if you're able to jump back in. We're not too far yet. What are you painting on, Cindy? You said a white mug? Oh yeah, wipe that off. We're not too far ahead. We're not too far ahead there. But at the same time, if you're frustrated and are ready to be done, that's okay too. All right, so the next row that we're going to do, I'm going to use my straight tool. So just finding a tool that is slightly bigger than the tool that you used for your first row. Just slightly bigger. Because what I'm going to be able to do with this tool is I'm going to be able to put on a fairly decent amount of paint on this tool. And I'm going to show you what we're looking for as far as spacing as well. So I'm going to write down row 3. This is going to be yellow number 1. So this is going to be yellow number 1. It's going to be our darkest yellow. Yellow number 1. And the tool size is straight. If you also want, or you could use your size 1 of your DIY mandala stones. That would also work perfectly well. So we're going to go with the darkest yellow now. And with your size 1 or your straight dotting tool. And again, I'm going to put quite a bit of paint on here as well. Let me just give a quick stir to the paints. And here we go. All right. So when I go to do my second row, I always go around and go into every other space, and I will show you why. Yeah, with the time change. It's so ridiculous how 1 hour makes such a big difference in how everything feels. So I'm looking to create a dot that's about that size with this, right? Doesn't overpower the row before. What I try and do when I'm looking at lining these things up to try and figure out what size of a dot to put there, I'm imagining a midline running through a little tiny skinny line, slicing this brown dot in half and coming out from the exact center point. So going out there, and then this one's going out here. So in my mind, I'm trying to keep that dot in between those midlines. So imagine if from the center of the center dot, there's a tiny skinny line slicing those brown dots in half and radiating outwards. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. When in doubt, again, give it a try. The worst thing that's going to happen is that I'm going to do a couple of dots and have to take the paint off because it didn't work out, right? And then I can try it again. Because I can always go in here and do those 3 and go, yep, spacing looks good to me. I know I'm good to continue on, right? So let me bring the tools in. Hi, Paula. This is where we're at right now. This will all be part of the tutorial, but definitely take screenshots in case something screws up with the recording. This is where we are at right now. It's good to see you, Paula. All right, so like I said, I go every other space. Now the reason for this is about points of reference, right? You guys hear me talking about this all the time. And if you're new, you will hear me talk about this all the time if you haven't spent a lot of time here with us before. I talk about this a lot. So it's in my mind when I'm doing my spacing and trying to figure out where I'm going to place all of my dots and all of that sort of stuff, I am looking for different points of reference so that I can mimic the placement of other dots that have already been placed down. So I'm looking to see what are the things that are surrounding this that I can refer to see if I have correctly mimicked or created the look that I want to have. So when I'm going around every other space, I'm really only have 2 different possible things that I could look at, right? I can look at the distance that this yellow dot is from the center dot, but that's not going to tell me where to put it, right? That's just going to keep me a certain distance away. but I might not put it in the right location, right? So that's what the brown dots are helping me with. I'm placing the dot in the space between the two brown dots from the row before. So this really only gives me a couple of points of reference. If there are spacing issues from the row before, then if I just keep following the previous row and these spaces in the previous row, then I'm just going to keep translating the spacing issues from row to row and not correcting them, not correcting the spacing issue. So if you have a little spacing issue that you want to kind of correct, then you can do the every other, because then I can go in and look at the other two yellow dots as a point of reference. Sorry, I totally got distracted there for a second because I looked at the screen. That was my fault. Yes, sorry. Sorry, Patty. Here is that there. Yellows. Number 1 is the darkest. Number 2 is your mid-range. And number 3 is your lightest. Sorry, Patty. Thanks, Jan. Oh, I'm sorry. It's still such crappy reception for you. So it's all about different points of reference. So every single time you're putting a dot down, you want to be kind of looking at where is this in relation to the other dots, and does it look familiar, and does it look similar to the way I want it to look and to the way that the other dots that I've already laid down have looked, right? So when I'm going around this row, I'm now paying less attention to centering my dot between the two brown dots as I am paying really close attention to set it down halfway between the two yellow dots, right? So this now is less about what the spacing from the row before is telling me and much more about having kind of evening out that symmetry. So this can help, and it sometimes can take 2 or 3 rows of doing this, but you can kind of work out some spacing issues with this as well. This just helps me with my consistency. It doesn't work all the time. I still have inconsistencies, of course, but I find this helps a lot and keeps me going at a decent pace. So this is where I typically pick up speed in a pattern like this, because I know that my spacing is pretty good. I'm really happy with how the first couple of rows turned out. So I can really start to kind of hustle and put this design together. I know I'm going to do 2 more rows of yellow. So after I do this row, I'm going to go and do a row of my mid yellow, and I'm going to end with a row of my lightest yellow. I'm not sure. I don't know where I would see that. Let's see. Comment settings, muted accounts, blot accounts. No. Enhance. Voice effects. No, I can turn my voice into a chipmunk. Let's look at effects. I'm just going to check in the effects. Maybe there'll be something in here. Or not. Nothing's loading. That's okay. Effects. Enhance. No. Effects. Okay. Yeah, if you find anything, please let me know. I don't know if it might be, I don't know if it's TikTok even too. I wonder if that would even play a part. All right, our next row, we are going to go into, I'll move this over here. We are going to go on row 4, and then I'll write out row 5 as well. We're going to go yellow number 2 and yellow number 3. Or DIY number 1. All right, so this is where we are. Oh, come on. Okay. So in theory, I'm expecting to be able to go to a DIY number 2 and then a DIY number 3. That's what I'm assuming I'm going to be able to do going forward. So that's what we're going to jump in with. And if this helps, hopefully it helps anyway. So let me find my number 2. And I'm going to move this off to the side. You're doing good. We're only 45 minutes in, darling. Only 45 minutes in. All right, we're going in with our mid-yellow. So again, if you're painting along, here are your instructions for where we are at so far. We are about to start row number 4. And then your colors are as follows. Your yellows, you have number 1 is your darkest yellow, number 2 is your mid-range, and number 3 is your lightest, and then you want a brown or a gold, or you can mix a brown and gold together, and that could potentially give you like an espresso metallic kind of idea. Okay? Oh, sorry, Shannon. Yeah, you're good. Yeah, you'll catch up. We're good. First hour is definitely not indicative of how every hour in this is going to go, right? Because lots of talking, lots of setup. For anybody who is just joining us, I wanted to be able to do something to individually contribute to help the people of Ukraine. So for while I'm doing this live, this isn't something that I normally do, sitting and doing a 3 to 4 hour project, but I thought it would be a fun kind of marathon way to say, hey, we're going to sit down and paint for a whole bunch of hours and paint the national flower of Ukraine. If you are called to make a donation, please don't send money directly to me. There is a link in my bio where it will take you to the You Animals webpage where you can donate to them. You Animals is a charity that helps to get food and veterinary care and other supplies to people and their pets who are escaping, are not able to escape, are at shelters and rescues and zoos, all those sorts of things. So, yeah, if you're called to do so, then please give that link a peek. But that is kind of the purpose of doing this today. And so along with that purpose is I understand that not everybody is able to donate, and that please do not feel any pressure to do so. I do not want to push anybody outside of their means. This is an if you feel called to do so only. I'm just happy that you're here, and if you're painting along with me, I hope that you'll enjoy painting this sunflower, and we're just adding more sunflowers out into the world and adding some love and some beauty. So that's kind of where we're at today. I will be live till probably, I'm guessing at least until 3 o'clock. So we've got a couple more hours to go. All right. And sunflowers are so happy, right? Hi, Jerlyn. Hello, hello. All right, so the next row of yellow. So this is going to, center dot is row 1, the brown dot is row 2, first yellow dots are row 3. So now we're going to go on to row 4, which is using our size 2 DIY mandala stones and using our yellow number 2, our mid-range yellow. So, just like the row before, we are going to start placing the dots, and I'm seeing that my paint is very, very thin, and I'm also understanding now that it's because I didn't stir it. So, I'm going to pull this paint off. Cotton swabs work well. I see incredibly brave souls that get in this close to other wet paint with cotton swabs, and my heart can't take it. So I would much rather smear this paint and then I'll scrub the rest of that dry paint off myself than to try and get in there with a cotton swab. So if you are a cotton swab hero, fantastic. Keep going. Please, we need you. We need to know that kind of strength that exists in this world. because I can't do it. So I use a wooden stir stick that almost acts like an eraser. I can apply quite a bit of pressure to peel that paint off, and it works just like an eraser, and it doesn't push the dust. It almost sticks to it. So that is where we are at. Now I'm going to give my paint a stir, because that is probably what happened after they've been sitting for a little bit. What are you working on today, Shannon? Making tons of necklaces? That's one hell of a punch into that Pyrex, darling. That scared the living snot out of me. How you did not break your hand, I will never know. All right, trying again with size 2. We're going to go all the way around this row, and I'm going to do my every other. Again, this is not something that you have to do at all. This is something that I do because it just helps me a lot. But if you are happier just going straight around and not doing the every other, then please just do that. Now, I'm still not getting a lot of paint on here, so this might end up with a little bit more space between the dots than I intended. That's okay. All right, so going all the way around. And now I'm going to go back in and fill in the spaces. That's not too bad. That's not too much space. We're doing all right. Thank you guys for all of the support that you showed to me and all of the other artists on Instagram yesterday that took part in the 24-hour marathon. You guys showed up. Unbelievable. You guys are incredible. And you showed up for so many different artists. And I want you to know how much they felt it and how much they loved meeting all of these new people. It was really, really cool. A lot of the artists, it was their very first live that they'd ever done, and they all did so good. I'm interested to see which ones are become addicted to it and start doing a lot more lives. It was really, really cool. But thank you guys for always showing up, and thank you for providing that moral and loving support. So encouraging. It's something special when you meet a group of people that want to help each other grow and flourish, right? To nurture that growth. Man, someone put an extra dot on my sunflower. What? Hi, Sharon. How you doing? Jerry Lynn, you're such a troublemaker. All right, so now I'm going to go to my lightest yellow, and I'm going to go to a size 3. Before I try it and have to erase paint, I'm going to give it a quick stir and attempt to be a little proactive. So not usually the way that I do things. I so prefer to do things the difficult way and to get in my own way. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. I hope that whatever you have been up to, I know a lot of you have been sitting and watching a lot of lives, but if you haven't been and you've had other things going on, I hope that you've had some time to take a bit of a breath. And yeah, we are 5 minutes getting into starting hour 2, which is nothing big for us. We do 2 hours all the time now. But yeah, this is the start of hour 2. Jade is really funny, eh? She's so funny. That's okay, Lulu. Please ask lots of questions anytime. On the mugs, I'm using multi-surface acrylic paints. They are specially formulated to adhere to the non-porous surface. Glass paints, enamel paints, porcelain paints are all also suitable. What you really want to do is make sure that you look at the bottles and make sure that they say that they are suitable. All-purpose and multi-surface are not the same thing. So make sure you read your bottles and only buy ones that say specifically that they are good for use on glass and ceramic. So multi-surface is the one that I tend to use a lot. And then I have a couple enamel paints, enamel and glass paints. I'd really like to try them a little bit more because they've got some really beautiful colors that I've seen that I want to try. And it's a very nice fluid paint. Now, the danger that you get into with multi-surface acrylic paints is that some of them are very, very, very thick. And it is a tad controversial on whether or not they should be thinned. There are people that use different mediums to thin them, and it happens very well. I know that it goes well, and oh God, I'm messing that up really bad. And they don't have any issues. But there's a lot of experimentation kind of really with this stuff. So it's about picking the paint that is going to work the best for you, and but keeping in mind that a lot of the multi-surface are going to be thick. So the enamel paints can be the thinner ones as well as the glass paints, but they can almost go to the side of too thin, so that if I was to place dots on this mug and then set the mug down and walk away, say to go to the bathroom or answer the phone or something, chances are by the time I got back, half the paint would be slid right down the side of the container, right? So keeping that in mind, that all multi-surface as well are not all created equal. Different brands are going to have different consistencies, okay? And you're going to just have different preferences too. Please, please, please do not discount the importance of personal preference. You want to make sure that you enjoy using the tools and the supplies that you are using. If you have to make sure that you enjoy as much of the process as humanly possible. So if painting mugs means using a paint that is too thick and its consistency that you don't enjoy using, don't force it, okay? But it is definitely worth looking at if it's really, really thick paint, which is usually where the discomfort comes in. We want to thin them down. So like I said, there are different flow mediums that have been used. I know, what was the name of the medium, Barb, that you tried? Is it flooding medium? I can't remember the name, but it worked really, really well, and didn't seem to impact the paints. But just kind of proceed at your own caution. Whenever possible, straight out of the bottle is the best. No, it wasn't Floetrol that Barb used. It was for the multi-surface one. It wasn't Floetrol. It was a folk art medium, I think. Unfortunately, yeah. So that's the end of row 5. So now that we have done these concentric circles, we will be able to start to build some spots for some petals. So the next thing that we are going to jump to is we are going to jump to a size 5. And we're going to go back to our brown gold espresso. And we are going to do our next row. I think we're going to do 5. Are we going to do 5? Yes, we're going to do 5. All right, so our next row, which is row number 6, we are going to do row number 6, brown, and we're going to use a DIY 5. Okay, oops. So there is our update. Row 6 in the brown. Let's make sure that actually looks like a B, kind of. And then DIY number 5. So And there is the earlier rows. And again, there is your yellow color cheat sheet if you want to take a screenshot of that for later. Number 1 is your darkest yellow. It really doesn't matter. You could do any order you want. You could go from lightest to darkest. You can go from darkest to lightest. You're going to have a beautiful color grade in there with the 3 different shades anyway, so please don't panic about that stuff. Even if you change up the order as you go through the entire design, not a bad thing. It's totally okay. All right, so I'm going to grab my size 5, and we are now going to place a size 5 brown dot in every other space. Okay. Folk Art Flow Medium for multi-surface. There you go. Perfect. Wait, is that a hair? Is there a hair? Okay, I'll check. Thank you. Oh, there's one. There's one right there. Oh, I don't know if it's going to come out. I don't know if we're going to get it. All right, time to zoom in. Let's see if the camera can help us here. There is hair. Look at that. Good eye. Good eye. All right. So this is where it gets tricky, right? See what happens. Almost got you, you little bugger. All right, well, we'll redo this dot then. Maybe this will help me pull the hair right off. The joys of painting with a cat. And there you go. Easy peasy. At least we know it's fixable, right? Thank you. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Sadly, I don't have any tweezers handy, and I don't even know if I have any, period, to be honest with you. It's okay, Barb. Oh, thanks, Lulu. I hope you have fun with it. Yeah, I don't know where my tweezers are. So, I'm screwed. There we go. Now we're good again. All right. So now we're going to go to the brown. We're going to go to our size 5, and we are going to do a brown dot in every other space. Okay, so size 5. We're going to do size 5. Yeah, size 5. Size 5 in every other. Okay, all the way around. Well, there's another one that would have gotten in the paint there. I'm seeing them now. It's the little tiny fluffy hairs, eh? All right, once we're done this row, we are going to do one teeny tiny row of walking dots to make a full petal around each of these. Okay, so let me show you where we're at. We are about to do these walking dots here. Okay, you don't need to panic that they're leaving room for the swoops. The swoops we can put right over top of any overlap of the dots, okay, of those walking dots. So we are going to create these. So what you want to do is you want to find the same tool that you used for your first row, those nice tiny dots, and that will be the tool that you can do all of your walking dots with. So for me, that's going to be the micro dotter, but whatever tool that you use for that very first row of tiny dots, that is where we are going to go with this one. So I'm going to write down row 7, and this is going to be in yellow number 2, our mid-range yellow. So again, I'm going to use my micro dotter. So whatever sharp, small dotting tool that you have, and then grab your mid-range yellow. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do these petals all the way around. So the walking dot petals, I always start with my peak dots. You get to decide how pointy you want these petals to be, right? If you want them to be really rounded, bring your peak dot closer to your center dot. If you want them to be pointier, take it farther away. The other way, if you want to keep it close to your center dot, but make it a pointier peak, just use a larger tool size. So what I would do in that case is I would actually go up a size in tool size for the peak dot. So I'd go up to like my size 1 or my size 2 of my DIY mandala stones. And do that. What is happening with this one? This tool is not happy today. Actually, it's this paint, isn't it? This paint is not happy today. All right, this is my thin paint. So also keep in mind too that any tool sizes that I give you is going to be very, very flexible based on how thin and thick your paints are too, right? So kind of keep that in mind. The tool sizes that I list are kind of a starting point, but then based on what kind of paints you're using and what you're painting on, right? That could make a difference. All right. I always do these first. You can totally do the walking dots at the same time if you want to. Just all about what's comfortable for you, right? This art form is so meditative and so healing that you really want to make sure that you are kind of taking part in the process in the way that makes you feel the best, right? So you don't need a reason for why you're going to do something. It doesn't need to make you more efficient. It just needs to be more pleasing to you, right? Feel calmer, feel happier, feel more in flow. You see the consistencies, you can recognize that your skill's developing, and you can just enjoy all of it as much as possible. That's my goal anyways. But that's what can really help you sink into it. Ooh, that drink was good. Please remember to drink. Please remember to stretch. Give your hands a break. Ooh, and I'm just recognizing I'm not wearing my wrist guard. Did I say do running dots? And she said she was going to do running dots. All right, here we go. Let's just change it. Let's call them running dots now. Let's do some running dots. So I'm going to use the same tool, the straight tool, or the micro dotter, whichever one you're using. And then we're going to do our walking dots. Nice and tiny. No specific rules on how many dots you're going to get all the way around. I tend to do all of the right sides recently, and then I'll come back around and do the left sides. I've found this a little easier for my muscle memory to be able to just get into an actual repetition as opposed to, you know, if I'm doing this side, then I'm doing this side, I'm changing my hand position with each row, right? So I don't always do it this way. I kind of just let myself go on automatic as much as I possibly can. This art form is so healing, whether you're here for the fundraiser, you're here to take a breath and hang out with friends, or if you're new here to the live and new to this style of artwork and new to me and what I do and this wonderful little family that we've got going on here. I think the biggest thing to always just remember is that there's no rules. You can do this however you want to. Play around with it. There's no rules, okay? But whatever it is that we're going through, we have a much better chance of being who we want to be in those situations if we take care of ourselves, right? So this is just another way that you can take care of yourself. This is not some of that dreaded self-care. I hate that whole side of things because it's taken such good meaning out of the term self-care. Self-care has nothing to do with, you know, well, you gave yourself a bubble bath and you got your hair done. No, if I didn't find that relaxing in that moment, then it's not actually giving me any kind of self-care. I think it's really about looking at ourselves and saying, what do I need right now? What does my body need? What does my heart need? What does my mind need? What does my soul need? And trying to fulfill those requests as best as we can. And for me anyway, I've found that this art form fulfills a lot of those requests all at the same time. Right? Hi, Elaine. Hi, Molly. How you doing? So, like I said, whether you're here for the fundraiser, you're here to sit and paint along with me and learn this pattern, whether you're here to just take a break and enjoy the scenery. There's a lot of heavy stuff going on in the world right now, and there's a lot of people out there that are trying to create more division with that hatred and the fear, right? So let's just keep going forward, trying to be as kind as we can to the people that need it around us, right? And part of that is doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves. So just please keep giving yourselves breaths. And thank you for coming to kind of be part of this really nice collective energy that we got going on here. How's your weekend been, Molly? I'm not going to be doing great at getting back to comments really quickly, so I do apologize. I want to talk with you guys, but I really want to make progress on this because I want to sit through and get through the entire piece. And I've never done an entire piece in one live sitting before, so it's going to be a little less of me answering comments and a little bit more of me just kind of powering through and seeing what we can get done, okay? The video recording for this, as long as it actually works, will be available on as my first video on my YouTube channel by the end of the day on Tuesday. All right, so now I'm modeling this right after another pattern, after another mug. Well, let's have a look here. So when I compare to the other black mug, I'm going to see some different things, right? I'm going to see that the one on the right is quite a bit larger for the center dots. Okay, so I've already taken up a little more space, which means I'm going to run out of space as I get towards the outside here. So we might make a little bit of a modification, but we'll go through both. This is what's going to happen, right? Even when you're mass producing stuff and your hand is going to dip into the paint in just a slightly different way that can make it look different enough that you have to make modifications, okay? So please don't panic when that happens all the time. And we're gonna make do with it. We're still gonna be okay. All right. For at least 2 more hours, till at least 3 p.m. Eastern, if not longer. That's my guess. Sharon and Jan are on riot control. Lucky you guys. I'm doing good, Molly. How you doing? Are you taking a bit of a breath? All right, our next row is going to be some swoops, and we are going to do some swoops that we are going to pull the paint into place with one really, really nice sharp tool. Okay, so for this row, that is row number 8, and we are going to use yellow number 1. And to lay down those dots, we are going to use a size 5, a DIY number 5. Here we go. And a reminder, there are our yellows. Okay. Now I'm going to move this over to the side. Grab my dark yellow. And I think I might need to mix a little bit more. I'm getting a little bit low here. So bear with me one second. Where did I put you? Orange. Oh. I know specifically that I mixed in Martha Stewart orange. So this is where you can catch up if I've been going too fast. I know I used my Martha Stewart. There you are. You sneaky little. All right, here we go. So my darkest orange is Martha Stewart Tangerine. Thank you, Jill and Kim. You're here for idiot control. Please don't kick me out. A close eye, 2 eyes when you can manage. All right, so I'm going to just fill this back up here. Alrighty, right. Let's go. So I'm going to use my size 5. Okay, and I'm gonna zoom in here because what I want to do is I want to use my size 5 tool, and then I'm going to use my sharp tool to pull the paint down into here. Okay, so what I'm going to look for when I'm placing the size 5 dot, I've got a lot of paint on the tool, and I'm going to place it so that it's right about here. Now, when I say this, I can see that I've chosen a specific position, and I'm going to show you what my eye is looking for when I place this dot. Okay, now I'm cleaning off that tool and grabbing my tool to pull down with. What I was looking for is it a nice straight line up here? Does it look like it's about halfway between this peak and this peak? And is it about the same distance from here and here? Right? Because I want it to look nice and even in between those petals. So that's what I'm looking for, and that's what I want to recreate. So remember when we were talking about points of reference? That's what I'm now looking for. And then I'm going to use this sharp tool to now change that dot into a swoop. You're not painting with the tool, you're just coaxing that paint into a different shape. Okay, just want it to kind of ease it into that shape that you want. Okay, and then there we go. Now we can do more. Now, what I typically do from here is I now flip it upside down because I want to make sure that I'm kind of still having a nice straight line between these two. So I'm going to grab my 5 again now. Lots of paint on it. But that's what my eye is immediately looking for, about how far is it away from each petal? Is it equal distance between the peaks of each petals? Does it look about the same distance away from the yellow in the center rows? And to just recognize that pattern. There we go. And then I just work my way around. This is where it can get really meditative as well, right? Because you've got lots of repetition and you've got a place to focus on. Now, really what doing these dotting across for me really helps is it helps me to make sure that when I'm pulling that paint down, I'm pulling it down in a straight line, right? Like I don't want to pull it kind of on an angle this way. This is just easier for me to see it across for me and pull it straight down. I used to do this straight in front of me, like put the dot in here and then push the paint up. But what I found is that they all kind of looked like they were leaning to one side. So it didn't really go very well. But once I switched to doing it across for me, it made a big difference and I had significantly fewer issues. So lots of paint. It's going right about there. Blob. Oh, I know what modifications we can make on this. Yeah, we're good. We're good. No problem. So this is not going to be a written pattern, but this tutorial will remain up on my YouTube channel once I get it up there until the end of time. Oh, and sometimes it goes really well and sometimes it doesn't too, Nurse Katie. Some days are better than others, eh? It's really about just almost even letting go of that perfection, but I totally get it. There's other artists that I look at and I'm like, how do you even do that? How do you do that? I look at Claire.com on Instagram and I'm like, I don't know how you do that. Don't know how you do everything so incredibly perfectly. But it's interesting. It's really, really interesting. Yeah, just unsolicited advice. Try and let that go as much as you can and just keep practicing. Let yourself enjoy it. Let yourself enjoy it just because the whole process is fun. Try to make sure that there's no even jokingly no pressure on yourself. Let yourself just enjoy it. It's very relaxing though, isn't it? I thoroughly love it too. Love it. Oops. And there's so many incredible artists out there to learn from, right? And everybody does things just that little bit differently. And it's so awesome because you can see so many different scenarios and possibilities just by looking at all the different artists that are already doing this and trying stuff, right? And then you start to see new artists and they are bringing all kinds of cool ideas to the table. Like there's just, it's endless. The possibilities are endless. Oh, I'm glad it's relaxing for you. That's so good. Deserve that. Deserve time to take a breath. So this is the only way that I ever did swoops for a very, very, very long time. So the kind of swoops where you just drop and drag the whole dotting tool with you to create the swoop. I don't think I did that at all for probably the first year to year and a half. And it's really only been the last few months that I think I've gotten a lot more really comfortable with it. We won't be doing that technique oh yeah, we will. We'll be doing that for the last chunk of swoops on the outer edge. So again, this is a size 5 of the DIY Mandala Stones tools, and then I'm using a puncture tool from Dollar Tree to just pull that paint down. For those of you who are new to my lives, this one is a very different live than what I normally do. I usually will sit and paint and answer questions about what I'm working on, but this is a full walkthrough with tool sizes and paint colors and all that wonderful stuff. So this is what I wanted to do to contribute to attempt to raise some money and support for people of Ukraine. There is a link in my bio that will take you to the page to donate to You Animals. That is that's a charity I really wanted to. I was looking for. I knew there would be an animal charity out there somewhere that could help people get veterinary care and supplies and everything to dog shelters and animal shelters and rescues and people who are traveling with their pets and everything, or trapped with their pets and trying to just survive. So, You Animals is the Ukrainian organization, and there is a link in my bio. And that's, this is kind of my fundraising aspect for that is, I thought about giving away products or doing a raffle, and we toyed with a couple of those different ideas. And this just seemed to make the most sense. It's the thing that I like to do the most. And normally we don't sit down and do a full step-by-step run through of a pattern like this on a live. So this is very, very different, but it's kind of cool. So the recording for this, as long as it works here on TikTok, I'll be able to put it onto my YouTube channel. It's actually going to be my first YouTube video. The link to donate to You Animals will remain in the description there as well. But you will be able to watch this again. Just keep an eye on here on TikTok and on Instagram and Facebook. I will put up posts and make sure that the link for the video is everywhere I can possibly put it, so that you guys can go back and watch it again, or anybody new can come across it and create this pattern as well. And please know that if donating is not an option for you, I definitely understand. And it's not mandatory at all. Just being here and sharing love and support and kindness, I think is the best thing that we can do anyway. So thank you for just being here. Thank you for learning this pattern that is inspired by the national flower of Ukraine. And maybe put a little bit more beauty back in the world. You never know. All right, so this is where we are at so far. That is row number 8 is the swoops. Okay, so that is where we are at. We are going to go back to our brown paint now, and we are going to go back to our size 5 tool again. So now back to the brown. And we are going to now place one of these dots. Actually, we're going to go, to a number 6. And we're going to go to a 6. And at the end of every other swoop, we're going to put one of these dots. Just every other one. Okay, so not at the end of every swoop, but every other one. And then now we are going to build some petals around these. So we're going to have the walking dots come down and start to kind of curl into here to the top of the swoop. So what we are going to do is we are going to do 4, 4? 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 5. So we're going to do 5 rows of walking dots around each of these brown dots. Okay. We are going to do, actually, hang on one second. Let me write this one down. So row 9 is brown, and that is going to be DIY number 6. These are swoops, and this one is every other. This one is every other. Okay. So, isn't it such a great color? But I really do think that if you took some brown paint, like some regular old brown Craft Smart paint, and mixed it with some gold, it would create a very similar color. All right, so this is where we're at so far. Sorry. Okay. Here's our yellows. And the link is in my bio to donate to You Animals, if you are called to do so. I am not keeping track of the number of donations. I'm just pointing you towards the resource if that is something. Anytime there's something like that, I know that there is a group of people that want to not only help the people that want to help the animals as well, and specifically look to try and find reputable organizations to donate to. So I was very excited because I was trying to sit down and do some research to find one, and I actually got sent a couple of references from somebody in Ukraine, so that was lovely. All right, so now we are going to go on and we are going to do, like I said, 5 rows of walking dots. Okay, so our next 5 rows are going to be row 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So we're going to do yellow number 1, then we're going to do 2 rows of yellow number 2, and then 2 rows of yellow number 3. And I'm going to fill in the tool sizes as we go, but I'm going to start up here with the micro. Okay, so again, remember that anytime I use the micro dotter, you want to look for the sharpest tool that you have. It might be your straight dotting tool. You might have a sharpened pencil, a super sharp toothpicks, or what I used to use all the time for the really tiny stuff. But that's what you are looking for, okay? And then in the next one, I'm pretty sure we will use the straight, or if you are comfortable doing walking dots with the DIY tools, you can do that there. And then we'll fill in how we're going to do the rest of them. So let's go in for those two rows first. So we're going to go in with the darkest yellow and the micro dotter. Oh, sorry. This was the wrong way. Wrong way. You need to 3, 1, 1. We want the darkest on the outside edge. Okay, so we're starting with yellow number 3, the lightest, using the micro dotter. We're going lightest to darkest. Okay. So let's bring this one back in. How are we doing? We're an hour and a half in. I'm optimistic. And I think, let's see. I'm going to try the micro dotter. And again, you can make your petals as pointy as you want them to be, right? If you want your petals to be pointier, you can move the peak dot farther away from the brown dot, or you can make the peak dot a larger size. Both of those will give you a pointier petal. If you want a more rounded petal, just bring that dot in closer or make that peak dot smaller. All right, let's do this. So again, we're going to do 5 rows of walking dots around this. We're going to do 1 row with our lightest yellow, 2 rows with our medium yellow, our mid-range yellow, and 2 rows with our darkest yellow. Oops. Just like the last time with the walking dots, I tend to go in all one direction. I actually go through phases where I do this, and then I go through phases where I just do the whole petal all at once, both sides all at once. I think it depends on the mood I'm in. I find I will deliberately do some tasks and some things what would be definitely considered the slow way. We already know I don't do things the easy way, but I mean the slow way. And I do them purposely on the slow way because I know that if I do them in the slow method, that I'm going to be able to just quiet my mind a little bit more. It forces me to slow down and slow down my focus as well. Oh, thank you, Nurse Katie. That's so sweet. All right. Oops. There we go. We're doing good. 4 more rows of walking dots. Let's go. Mid-range yellow. I am moving up to my straight dotting tool. And if you're painting along, thank you for coming to paint along with me. This is fun. For those of you who are just joining, this is intended to be my fundraiser to help with the Ukraine. Or a fundraiser, not the fundraiser, my fundraiser. That made no sense. A fundraiser to help Ukraine. So that's why I'm doing this full tutorial, step-by-step tutorial to complete this sunflower-inspired dot mandala pattern. All the way around. So one thing that you will start to notice quite regularly when you're doing a lot of these walking dots is you'll find that every once in a while you'll be doing your walking dots and the paint will just run out, right? Or you're trying to and the dots just get too small, and it's like you're trying to cover too much distance with not enough paint, right? When that happens, I used to think that my only option was to go up a size in the tool because I thought that meant that going up a size in the tool, the dots would be larger, I cover more space, and it would just kind of go from there, which it works, completely works. But I wasn't super happy with the look that left. I didn't like the way that it looked as part of the design. It looked kind of clunky, and it just looked like it didn't really fit very well all the time. So what I started to see other artists do is they would use a different size tool for the peak dot than for the walking dots. But what I would also see is them do a dip and dot, right, for example, and then dip again, and then start walking the dots. So they were adding a couple dots up at the top of the petal that were the same size, dip and dot, right? Gives us the same size dots. So they would do a couple at the top before they would start walking the dots. Okay, so that was one option. Now the other option is even switching tools. Using a larger tool for the first 3 walking dots and then switching to a smaller tool for the bottom half, that would work as well, right? So don't feel like you are stuck having to try and figure out how you're going to get your paint from way up here down to way down there. If it's not already cooperating, if it's not already going that far for you. All right. So these sunflower mugs that I am painting are going to be part of my shop update next Saturday, March the 19th. And any sales, the sales from these sunflower mugs will also be donated to You Animals. One of these mugs is going to have the proceeds donated to the same organization, the same person that we were raising money for yesterday during the 24-hour marathon. But I'll have 3 mugs that will all be for You Animals. Okay, so now I'm going to do a second row. So what I'm going to do is I am pretty confident that the amount of paint that I can put on the straight tool that I used for this last row, I could walk dots from all the way up here. But because I know that I want my peak dots to gradually get larger and larger, I need to make this next dot up here a little bit larger. So I can either put a lot more paint on my straight tool and do that and then walk the dots down, or I can use a different tool. So I'm going to use a different tool for the peak dots, and I'm going to show you the next, the other 2 tool sizes that you will see me use here during this tutorial. Okay, and these are nail dotting stylus tools, the little ball stylus tools. Okay, so on the left, let's see if we have that, if we can see that here. Let me pull this in here. Oh, I was hoping that was going to be a dark color to show this on. Okay, so the one on the left is my straight tool. So you can see, compared to the straight tool, the one in the middle isn't that much bigger. And then on the one on the right, not that much bigger either. So for example, in comparison, on the other end of my purple tool, which is where this third one is, it's the second largest. This one is the second largest one in the set. So we're not going super big here. We're still kind of sticking with on the smaller end. Like this would be within the 5 smallest. This one might be number 4. So these ones might be like number 3 and number 5, or number 3 and number 4. If we were to sort our tools and look at the 5 smallest tools, that's where we would be at. So you're just looking for a tool that's slightly larger than the one you used in the row before, right? So because I used the straight tool in the row before, I'm going to go to the next one up that's just that little bit bigger. Okay. Still using my second yellow, my mid-range yellow. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my peak dots first. If you find that, I used to find that different sides of each petal, one side would be longer than the other. So this one would be longer and straighter, and this one would be shorter and chubbier. It's usually about which way the peak is starting to lean. So this one, when it's starting to get straighter and longer on this side than on this side, oops, then it means that it is, the peak dots are leaning towards the right. So the peak dots are leaning away from whichever side is elongating. So if I want to fix that, what I want to do is I want to place my next peak dot here in this row. I'll replace that dot here in a minute. I want to place the peak dot, instead of continuing to follow it in this line this way, I want to kind of move it over this way a little bit. So see how it's a little bit off center, but it's going to just start to slightly pull it back left. And then we can just slowly, slowly, slowly move it in the direction where we want it to be. This has worked really, really well to help recover some petals without having to start over again. All right. So this is where you might sometimes see some modifications. So when I'm going into this row of walking dots, I could either do the walking dots with this one, or I could use the straight tool again and do the 1 dot, 2 dots, and then walk all the way around, right? Like I could do that. I'm too lazy to do that right now, so I'm going to use this actual tool, and this paint in particular is quite thin. I'm going to be able to use this exact same tool for the next row as well, just because I know that the next paint that I'm going to use is a lot thicker than this one, so it's just naturally going to create larger dots with the same tool. So kind of keep that in mind as we're going out from this center dot. We just want it to get slightly larger. So there's no hard and fast rule about which tool you're going to use. I'll show you which ones I'm going to use, but it's going to be kind of dependent on what tools you have there in front of you, okay? I like doing the long lines of kind of smaller dots, especially when it gets into the color grades. Swoops and color grades are always so satisfying too. So let's do this. So if you're just joining this live, hi, my name is Jamie. I'm a dot mandala artist. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and it's been my full-time job for almost 2 years now. And I don't normally do live tutorials step by step because they're usually very long. This is going to be, we're going to be here for a good 3 hours at least. But I wanted to do this to help other people paint more of these sunflower dot mandalas. And I did also provide a link in my bio if you feel called to donate. There is an animal charity in Ukraine that I would like, that I've shared the link for, that I would love to donate to. And that's where any proceeds from the sale of my sunflower items will get donated to. But it's an animal organization that helps to make sure that animals and their owners are getting veterinary care and food, and making sure that rescues, animal shelters, zoos, those sorts of places are getting food and veterinary care to their animals as well. Okay, so that's row 3. So now, with these dotting tools that I just showed you with these sizes, I actually labeled them 1, 2, and 3. So if you have my sour candy pattern, these are the same dotting tools that I used in the sour candy pattern. Okay, so I just number them. I know that these are the 3 common tools that I use over and over and over again, always in the same order, always with walking dots. So it was really easier for me to go just in this nice order. So these are the tool names that I'm going to put on this written description that I'll show a snapshot of again. Okay, so just know I'm talking about the straight tool. The number 1 is just one size up, something slightly larger than the straight tool. And when I say a dotting tool number 2, this is going to be something slightly bigger than dotting tool number 1. No specific measurements to worry about here. Okay, so this is going to be dotting tool S, dotting tool 1, and dotting tool 2. So D, T, S, straight, dotting tool dash 1, dotting tool dash 2. Okay, D, T equals dotting tool. So let me show you a quick snapshot of the instructions where we are at so far. We are about to do 2 rows of walking dots with our darkest yellow. This is where we are at here, and let me just check the questions here. Hi, Hi, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing the live. Hi, Oddballs Mark. It's good to see ya. Delightful Diane. Yes. Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. Yeah, multi-surface acrylic paints for the mugs and regular acrylic paints for stone, canvas, that sort of thing. So this is where we are at. Okay, we're about to start row 13. Oh no, sorry, we're about to start row. Nope. Sorry, please delete that photo. Delete that photo. Straight. This one was DT. This is DT1. This is DT1 again, and that is DT2. Lots paint. There we go. Okay, so we're about to start rows 13 and 14. And we're going to do 2 more rows of walking dots, and these are both going to be in the dark yellow, the darkest yellow. All right. This video is going to be saved, hopefully, as long as the recording works perfectly well. And then I'm going to actually use this as the first video for my YouTube channel. So by end of day on Tuesday at the latest, there will be links absolutely all over my social media and links in my bio as well. I'll add links there to this video. So if you want to come back to it, if you have to leave, if you got here after we'd already gotten started, you will be able to follow this video again and as many times as you want to on the YouTube channel. So by end of day Tuesday, I'm going to actually have a YouTube channel. And by end of day Tuesday, this tutorial will be up there. I'll put the link for you animals in that tutorial as well, because I think that they're going to need some help for a while. So this isn't something that's going away too quickly, I don't think. Right? There's always so much more recovery than we ever know about too. So I'm happy to do that with these. All right, so I'm going to go back in with the same tool that I used for the last row, but because my dark yellow paint is so much thicker than my medium yellow paint, that's why I'm going in with the same tool. See how much bigger the dots are, right? So much thicker paint here. This particular one is a Martha Stewart. It's called Tangerine, and it's a really, really nice one. It finishes really nice and smoothly. It doesn't bubble a lot and doesn't cause a lot of trouble. Martha Stewart paints are notorious for being a little bit thicker, though. Not quite the same as folk art thickness. Folk art thickness seems to mean that it's going to dry with peaks that are sharp as knives, sharp as daggers. And that can happen sometimes. Not all the time, but it happens a lot. Martha Stewart seems to be definitely on the thicker side, but not in the same way as folk art. Both folk art and Martha Stewart do well when you mix with some Craft Smart. So I know it's not always the same colors. Look at the difference in size, eh? Look at how out of place that looks compared to the row before. I'm not changing it because I don't want to start over again, but that tells me right there that I put way too much paint on. So now I'm going to dip my tool in far less and see if that's more what I wanted. But I might need to do the dip and dot a couple of times. That's better. So lots less paint. Oops. So in a perfect world scenario with dot painting, our tool would never touch the surface that we are painting. We would allow the paint to make contact with the surface, and then and then we could influence that, but that is the ultimate goal. I don't do that. I touch the surface all the time. Happens all the time. But it's definitely, I can imagine how much slower I would be going if I wasn't touching the tool to the surface. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. Oh. Keep an eye out for those rogue linty cat hairs in your paint too. Okay, remember to stretch. Give your hands a break, give your arms a break, give your butt a break. We are getting ready to start hour number 3. We are finishing up hour number 2. The goal is to get this done in one sitting without having to be on here 7 or 8 hours. But I think we're going to be on here for at least the 3 hours, at least until 3 o'clock, if not until 4. We'll see how we do here. So if you wanted to paint along and you got here after we'd already started, the recording will be available on YouTube by the end of the day on Tuesday, and I'll put the link in my bio, and I'll make sure that it's all over my social media so you can't miss it, and you'll be able to watch it as often as you like there. If you do feel called to make a donation today, there is a link in my bio to an organization called You Animals, helping people in Ukraine with pets. Make sure they've got veterinary care and food for either leaving the country or if they are there and need supplies brought to them, including places like rescues and shelters and zoos, those kinds of organizations, right? Hi, Kathy. How are you? Good to see you. How's everything going in Scotland? I know, 3 hours. This is my marathon. This is my, when people raise money for charity by doing a marathon, this is mine. This one's mine. All right, so now I'm going to go on to, I'm actually going to use this tool again. So you might need to, depending on the thickness of your paint, for the final row, you might need to go to a size that's significantly larger. I'm not, because my paint is very thick, so I'm going to actually stick with this one, and we're going to keep going with it. How you doing, Christine? Yellow number 1 is the darkest. Here is your cheat sheet. Sorry. Boop. It only permitted Patreon. No way. So when you went through the donate page, did you get an error? That's weird. That's very strange. Great in Scotland? Good. Canada's doing all right. We got a cold one here in my neck of the woods anyway. And I apologize. I need a shot of sugar, so I'm going to have a piece of my chocolate bar. Okay, we're on the last row of our walking dots, and then we are going to build out our next set of petals. The next set of petals is going to have 5 rows of walking dots as well. So we're going to be doing this part of the pattern for a little bit yet. Good. I'm glad you're doing good, Christine. Thank you for trying to, Sharon. I wish I knew why that was. All right, here we go. That wasn't on the cheat sheet. I'm sorry. I'll add it to the list next time. Make sure you have caffeine and sweets. I'm so sorry, loves. What are you working on today, Mark? What are you up to? And how many people are painting along? Sharon said that she did and it only allowed her to go to the Patreon? Whoops. Hang on one second. I will pull it up. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Oh, gotcha. Dotting on records, making them into clocks. That's amazing. You're painting along, Doris? Awesome. Hey. You're painting, but not with the tutorial painting. That's good. Still good collective energy, right? Let me... copy. Let's go here. I'm just going to pull up the site to see what I have here. Painting along, but so far behind YouTube Tuesday. Here I come. Oh, I wish you were, Lori. Oh, well, I hope it's fun to sit and watch these back. You guys are so cute. Jan, you had issues donating as well? Oh, no, you were just telling her. Oh, okay. I think she was asking that because of you there. Oops. Why can't I? Why is this so big? I don't even understand what's happening here. How do I fix my resolution? No. It's zoomed all the way in. I can't even see it. Let's try this. I'm going through here. So if I go to donate, if I go to ENG, oh, I'm sorry, you guys. I obviously didn't do the best research there. So there's ways that you can donate here, or you can do it through Patreon. So yeah, I guess Patreon is the best idea. Because this is all about how to send transfers through Swift and banks. I'm so sorry, you guys. I didn't understand that. I should have. Damn it. Damn it. Okay. Well, let's keep painting. Yeah, I gotta get on there. With Patreon, you have to pay every month. Technically, you could join once and then cancel after a month. That's an option as well. But that's a lot of admin, and I apologize. So I would say then, I guess, if anybody does want to PayPal me, then I could do a donation on our behalf if that's something that you want to do. Honestly, that scares the crap out of me. But I guess that might be the only option, eh? You might be taking donations for you to send them to them. Maybe I was trying to avoid that, honestly, Jan, if I could. Because the hard part is when it comes in as a donation, it comes in as income under my business. And I really didn't want it to affect that. But, so give me a minute to think on that one. I wonder if I can separate that out in my, I guess I could separate it out in my PayPal, right? Shit. Okay. Yeah, I was really trying to avoid that if I could. So we'll say, I have to set a time limit then and say that any donations that come in through my PayPal, I will donate to the organization. And figure out how to do that. I'm so sorry, you guys. That's my shit research for you. The other option is to go through Humane Society International instead of going through You Animals. I just really I liked the idea of being able to get it into their hands a little bit faster and less through all of the process through like a large organization we would have to go through, right? But oh, thanks, Mark. I hope you have a good day at work. That's the link that's in their Instagram, so I have no issue with people not trusting me with it. This was a purely selfish thing to keep it off of my PayPal if I could do it. I appreciate that you trust me, though. Either way, whether it's PayPal or e-transfer, it's going to work out exactly the same way. So the e-transfer is another option as well. Yeah, we'll have to figure this out after. Thank you, Jan, because yeah, I can't. Crap. I appreciate that you guys trust me to do that on your behalf. I really, really do. They do have a website where you can see the donation info. I think that's just all that they're allowed to get into. But yeah, it's not a youanimals.com. I give up. Uncle. All right, so 5th row of yellow walking dots on these petals. So we've got a good chunk of space in between each, but we're going to fill that up a little bit with some walking dots and some more little bits of brown detail. Or like I said, if you're using brown or gold, we'll go from there. But the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to set up for another set of these petals. Now these petals are going to kind of sit right in here. Maybe up a little bit higher, but that's where we're going to go. I will. Thank you. I will figure something out. I'll figure something out through my website and through the sale of these mugs. I think that that's what's going to have to be. Yeah, I think PayPal and e-transfer are the only options. So I will have to figure that out. And I don't think I'm going to be mentally capable of doing that today. So I will try and do that later this evening. Oh, I'm so glad, Jan. That's wonderful. All right, so I'm going to go in now with a size, what size are we going to go to? We're going to go to a size 8. Now this one's going to be a little bit tougher because we don't have guidelines again. Actually, here, let me grab my little notebook and we'll write in the next row. So row 15 is going to be brown. And it is going to be a DIY number 8. Okay, so here is our updated sheet right here. Like so. Okay, so we are about to start row 15. Row 14 was the last of the walking dots, and row 15 we're going to add in there. Okay, so there is opportunity for screenshot. Maybe someday I'll get this into a written pattern as well to be a downloadable PDF. That might be nice too. Okay. Yeah, how's everybody else making out? Cindy, Doris, how you guys doing? All right, now, size 8. So we are going to, when I'm looking at this, I can see, oh, here, this one's better, easier to see. So see how below the dots, just like on the one that we did, the walking dots come down in below the brown center dot, right? So when I'm placing this dot here, I want to leave what's going to feel like too much room, but I've got to leave enough space for these rows of walking dots. So what I do is I look at the row before when I have the opportunity. So because I'm going to be doing petals that have the same number of rows of walking dots as these ones, they're going to have 5 as well. I know kind of how wide the sides of the petals are going to be. Okay. So when I'm looking at this here, it's about, what, like quarter of an inch. So when I'm doing that here, I know that when I want to raise this up and have these petals coming down, I don't want to run into the next dot. So I want to be at least that far away. So how do I have to center that to be at least that far away? And then I probably want to be a little bit farther away because of just having a little bit of space there, right? So I'm going to put my dot out quite far. Probably right about here, because if I go here and then let's say that's my center and then I'm kind of coming out to the side, that's kind of what I'm looking at, and it'll still leave some space. Okay, so using my size 8, I'm looking at my points of reference and I'm looking at how far from the yellow swoop am I, and then I'm looking at how far from either of those am I. Okay, now the easiest one here, when this stuff isn't jammed in close together, the easiest one is going to be to look at this distance here. Okay, so What I tend to do when I'm looking at that distance is this is when I go back to the 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock, because I can kind of see the distance that's there. And I think I can mirror it fairly well across that way. You can always measure it out though too. Writing it down, awesome. Right, and they're going to have little differences, and that's okay. Not the end of the world, but I'm going to try my best to replicate that spacing all the way around now, okay? And again, I always do this across from me because that's where I find I get my spacing a little bit better, okay? So if you want to measure it and put any marks on there for you, wax pencil, dry erase marker, you can definitely do that. I'm keeping a really close eye on how they're relating to the peaks of these petals here because I want this one to be out further. So I'm going to keep doing that. Okay. So now we are going to do 5 rows of walking dots. Oh, I just got a crap ton of brown paint all over me. It leaked all over me. Smushed it right out of the side of the container. All right, so 5 rows of walking dots. Now, the last time we did 5 rows of walking dots was right here. Petal. Right? And we did lightest to darkest. And we're going to do the same with this one. So we've got 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20 for our 5 rows. That is a petal. Okay. So we are going to use yellow number 3. So this one I did 1 of the lightest, 2 of the mid, and 2 of the darkest. This time I'm going to do 2 of the lightest, 2 of the mid, and 1 of the darkest. And it's likely going to follow the same sizing as up here. So we're going to go micro, straight, or DIY number 1. And then these ones, so my mid yellow, I know that they are fairly thin paints. So I'm probably going to do... so this is going to be DT1. So that's my dotting tool. So not the straight tool, one size up from the straight tool. This one is going to be DT1. Actually, no, this one for you guys, we're going to write it down as DT2 because my paint is wonky, right? So DT2 and the DT1 for that one as well. Okay, so this is going to be our 5 rows of walking dots. We're going to start with the micro dotter, gradually get larger and larger as we move out from the center and do these rows of walking dots. And we're going to do 5 rows, 2 rows of our lightest, 2 rows of our mid, and 1 row of our darkest. Okay. Hopefully everybody's, is that a little bit better? Like so. And we'll start a new page here. So this is the last opportunity to take a picture of page, last opportunity to take a picture of page 1. This is the option you want because I had cut off DT1 over here. Okay. Oh, that's nice to hear, Nurse Katie. I'm glad you like my stuff. Glad you're back. All right, so now we're going to start these 5 rows of walking dots, okay? So, bring the mug back. I'm going to start with the micro dotter. And here we go. Now, actually, before we get started, my apologies. Before we get started with that, we're going to get the brown out again. If you've already started with the walking dots, not a big deal, okay? But I forgot that I did it this way the last time. Well, now with my DT1, which is my smallest one that has the actual metal ball on the end that I'm using, I am going to do some walking dots from these brown dots into those swoops. Okay, so what I mean by that, so again, the smallest of the ball stylus tools, the one that I've used in the walking dots. Oh, did you? Oh, that's lovely. I'm so glad that you love it. Yay. Oh, that's lovely to hear. Oh, I'm so glad. Okay, so we're going to do some walking dots that are just going to go in a nice straight line. This is where it can help you as well to look kind of across this way, right? So if I'm tilting it and I'm looking kind of down the mug, I can see very clearly if I'm in a straight line or if part of it's going cockeyed, okay? So this is where I kind of line up for these sorts of things where it could be really easy to get a little off center. And don't panic if you don't have the same number of dots in each one. I've started to panic about that less and less, especially with the mugs when they are such an odd shape, right? Well, that one's super far. All right. So there we go. We've got those walking dots going down, and that's going to be our barrier there, and now our division. And now we can start doing those walking dots. While you guys get started on the walking dots, I am actually going to write down the information. I'm going to be putting a new piece of Bristol board. So my PayPal is actually both and e-transfer. So we're going to go e-transfer is going to be Mark, are you still here? I'm waiting for the comment on my email address. And then PayPal. I feel like I've been craving doing some drawing of mandalas lately. What do you guys think? Should we do some of those on lives? I put spaces in there. There's no spaces that are actually there. So if you want to donate, I will take care of making sure that the money gets to you animals. If I have issues getting it to you animals, I will put it through Humane Society International, and I will post about it so you know exactly where the money went and how much. Any money that is sent to me through either of these channels before, let's say, by the end of the week, is that too long? How long should I leave it open? I don't want it to be an indefinite thing. What do you think? Any suggestions? Okay. Now let's start with our dots. We're starting with our micro dotter again. Okay, so why don't we stay until midnight Eastern on Friday? So that will be Friday the 18th. How's that? Okay. Friday works. I will do that. I will put it on my social media. And then once I am able to tally all of that and figure all of that out and figure out how to get it to the bank transfer, then we will make sure that, like I said, if I run into enough issues that I can't get it to them directly, I will make sure I go through Humane Society International, that is doing a lot of initiatives and a lot of work to help in Ukraine as well. But if I can get it directly into these guys' hands, then that's what I will do. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you very much. Very, very much. Mm-hmm. Oops, need a bit more paint here. As you move all the way out and these start to get a little larger, you might find that you need to just use more paint, or maybe you do need to go up a size. So always kind of keep that in mind, that if I tell you a certain size, if it doesn't match what works for you, make sure you change it. Just go up one or down one, depending on whether my instruction makes it feel too large or too small for you, okay? If you do send me anything through PayPal, please make sure you put a note on it for me. I'm going to assume that if it's from somebody I don't know and it's just random amounts of money being thrown at me, that everything is good. But if you don't mind, if you can put a note on there, even in the e-transfer, if you can add a comment, I don't think that I'm going to see that, but just in case, or shoot me an email as well. This email I don't check the inbox for. This is the email that I use to try to sign up for all of the 10% off your first purchase kind of stuff. But the Mandala Love Affair email address I will answer. So if you need to get a hold of me, please don't hesitate to let me know. All right, here we go. Hi, Sharon. Welcome back. Okay. 5 rows of walking dots. This is where we are at. This is a nice opportunity to kind of zen out for a little bit of this repetition. So just remember, you're constantly going larger as you move out from the center. And let yourself kind of relax and enjoy. Sharon came back with a stapler. Yeah, she'll kick your ass. Cricket ball. Damn, that's brutal. Damn right, that would hurt more. Holy crap. All right, how are we doing, you guys? I'm guessing we've got about another hour, so I'm guessing we're here till about 3:30. If anybody needs a pee break, that's what the recording's for. At some point, I'll have to take a break, I'm sure, but for now, we're good to keep going. actually doing better than I anticipated. This gives me hope for when I'm doing these mugs and just sitting quietly and not having to think of anything else. I feel like that means that I will be able to be a little bit more productive with these, which would be nice. I'd like to get through some more of them and get a bunch made. I am doing a shop update this coming Saturday, March the 19th. And I'll have these sunflower items. Sales from these sunflower mugs will be donated as well. And I'll have some other items too. Some incense holders, a couple other mugs. I'm working on a couple rainbow mugs right now. I've got a couple other mugs that I'm going to be doing based off of the card pulls that I did. I took to go coffee. Did you? When I wasn't looking? Sneaky, sneaky. Very sneaky. You know what, you guys? Why don't we say this, that if I can't... I wonder if Andre from Azart Group would help me find a place. Now, we'll do Humane Society if we have to. Never mind. Never mind. Oops. Thank you for wanting to support this, you guys. Please don't feel All right, next row. Moving on to the mid-range yellow. 2 rows of that. And then the final bit after we're doing these is just going to be some swoops. So I think we're doing pretty darn good. How are you guys feeling about it? How do you feel about this kind of tutorial? Very similar to when we used to do the Zoom workshops. Less interaction because it's a live as opposed to a Zoom, of course. But it's faster paced because the design is quite a bit bigger and not sure what's going to fit in and how long these workshops are going to be, right? So it's good practice at least to see what we can accomplish. I think for just a plain old instructional video, it's going to be really difficult. There's another pattern I'm actually going to be posting. Is it this one? No. There's another pattern I'm going to be posting. It's a 4-hour video tutorial, actually. It's one of the first ones that I ever did. And it's a grayscale 4x6, 5x7. 5x7 canvas, a grayscale 5x7. I'll be putting that up on YouTube as well. That's an oldie. It took a lot less time. My thoughts on Zoom going forward are going to be to get patterns started. That's kind of my thought, is like when a new pattern gets, every time a new pattern gets released, that I schedule a Zoom or open up some Zoom slots and say, okay, if you want to paint this pattern, we'll jump on a Zoom and we'll get it started. We'll review the pattern, maybe go through any questions. If you have questions about your surface, prepping it, we don't even need to physically get it started, but just do kind of like a review. And then I can get it started to kind of demonstrate demonstrate any of the techniques that are in it, or talk through any of that. I think that would be fun. Yeah, it does feel fast. So I think the recording will definitely be a little bit more, a little bit more comfortable for a lot of people, Patty. I think so. Oh, I'm glad, Cindy. So that's kind of where I'm thinking about going with the Zooms in the future. So many different ideas have come in and out of my head for different things to do. And it's a little overwhelming sometimes. And then there's the moments where you're like, it's a really, really good idea, and I bet you that it would do really well and be very popular. But I just really don't want to do it. There's those ones too, right? It's so hard because there's so much. I like that thought. I'm not going to be doing any of that through Patreon. I have to though. Crap. I'm trying to eliminate Patreon and not have to add any more tiers in there, because I don't want to drive membership to my Patreon. I'm going to have to think on that one and figure out how to do it. It's exactly right. That is no joke. That is straight up facts, Jan. Straight up facts. Lots of room, lots of brain cells have moved out and moved on. They have retired. They've said there's nothing more we can do. I want to keep the Patreon for the existing patrons that are already there and give access to all of the patterns there as I kind of had planned. Just making any changes or many additions to Patreon, I don't know. That's the thing that I wanted to do, because it's convenient to keep it. And when I said I meant to get rid of it, and that wasn't the right wording. It was, I don't want to grow it. It's not something that I want to grow anymore. The people who are in the Patreon right now are the only people that are going to be in the Patreon. But I'd have to, for the Patreon members to be able to access the Zoom. So I'll have to think on that one. Yeah, that was wrong. That was bad wording on my part, Sharon. I'm not anxious to get rid of Patreon at all. Like, I'm not saying, hey, we're wiping this out. But I definitely don't want to grow it anymore. At least not at this point in time. So we'll see. You getting reprimanded, Jan? All right, so this is row number 3 of the walking dots. Okay, I'm using, just gradually going up, still using my size 1. My next row, because my mid-range yellow is thinner, I'm going to have to go up a tool size for the next row, and then I'm going to have to go back down a tool size for the final row. So I'm doing I did 2 rows of the light yellow and then 2 rows of the medium yellow. I like doing the long live. Like, this is really cool to see that, we're going to This has already been almost 3 hours. That's super fun, I think. So it might be the kind of thing that I can do again and just say, we're going to get through as much of the pattern as we can, and I'll at least get you started. That might be a thing even too. It's going by real fast. Really, really fast. It's crazy. Hi, Zumafu. How are you, love? It's good to see you. All right. Yeah, I think it would be a cool idea to be able to have workshops to get people started on a new pattern. I think that could be really cool. Do you think that we'd need to have a maximum number of attendees, though? Because I'm thinking that we wouldn't want it to be too full of a room. I'm kind of okay with less interaction as well, simply because, yes. I get that, Jan, totally. I totally get that. We can kind of interact whenever we want to, right? Aw, thank you, love. Yeah, Zoom, I should limit the size, yeah. All right, I'll do some more brainstorming and see what else we can come up with. I got to get the next damn pattern done first. I'm very, very behind in that other pattern, but I'm going to have an admin day here soon. Tomorrow is a painting day. Tomorrow is also a sleeping in day. It's going to be the first day in about 3 weeks that I'm not going to have to leave the house at all tomorrow. And I'm very, very excited. Very, very, very excited. So I'm going to actually follow through. Zooms could go on and ever if you right. Yeah, it could be a gong show. Yeah, I'll have to look at that one. When I first met Barb, she had introduced me to an artist that does a bunch of live, kind of like just the live paint with me, right? Like you'd go to Boston Pizza and do a paint party. This artist does a lot of them live, and the lives are free, but she accepts tips, and anybody who tips $5 or more gets a copy of the video of the live. And I tried doing that at the very beginning, and I gave up on it because it wasn't successful for me. But maybe that's an option to look at again now. That might be something to revisit, right? You have a queen for me. Can't possibly have a queen for me because I am the queen. Not even, but wah wah. Do you have a question for me? Is that what you meant, Zumafu? What's your question, love? Do my best to answer. It's good to see you. We haven't seen you in a while. It's lovely. But hit me with your question. I gotcha. I hope, maybe. Is Molly still here? Did I miss Molly leaving? No, I haven't. I haven't had to do that yet. You have to take one of your babies? Missed Molly completely. She's in and out like a shot, I guess, eh? Emily needs to get her teeth cleaned next month. Oh, no. That's going to stress her out, eh? I wouldn't even know. I would definitely be curious about what kind of sedative to give to help them relax. I've never been through that though, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I don't have any perspective on that. Anybody else who has cats that they've had to take to get their teeth cleaned want to weigh in on that? Oh, poor thing. She's not going to like that. She's very spicy in the vet office. Yeah, I wish I knew more about that to be able to offer anything for you there. I'm so sorry. I haven't had to go through that yet. I hope I don't for a while. I guess that'd be stresses. I know, you feel so bad, right? Like, I don't want to take them, but it's necessary and it's going to help her. Especially mouth and tooth health is so something you want to stay on top of, right? Because infection is so easy to have happen. Oh, I'm so sorry. I wish I had some advice to offer you, love. All right, we're going on to the 5th row of walking dots. If I can think of anything, but I think anybody else who might have had some experience with that might be, oh, poor thing. Gingivitis. Poor kitty. They will sedate her. Oh, that's good. She'll be a little groggy then, and that's good. Be spicy as hell probably, I'm sure, when she wakes up and gets her wits about her again after waking up at it. But you can take it. You'll be the punching bag, right? I've had my dog's teeth cleaned recently. Yeah. It makes such a big difference when you've got a good vet, eh? Yeah, if you've got a good vet. So if you're nervous too, even call the vet and say, I'm really nervous about what this is going to be. What are the things that I can do to make this less stressful on her and on everybody else and on myself? That's always an option too. I'm sure they'd be happy to help you. Because it's in their best interest as well if they can help you keep your cat calm before coming in, right? Yeah. I would say don't hesitate to give them a call and see how they can help you out a bit. All right. How's everybody doing? 5th row of walking dots around the 2nd set of petals that we've done in this pattern. Oh, that's way too much paint, Jamie. But that's fine. Still looks nice. It's okay. When she got spayed several years ago, I got called twice for her bad behavior. I got called to the principal's office, eh? Oh, no. Oh, you're welcome, love. I'm sorry I'm not more help there. So what are you guys up to the rest of the day today? I'm incredibly impressed that we are just about to start. We're 10 minutes away from starting hour 4, but we're almost done. It gives me hope, you guys, that maybe I can start completing these mugs in under 4 to 5 hours. That would be nice. My friend Amanda asked me the other day, she said, how long does it take you to do a mug on average? And I said, oh, about this long. She's like, do you actually know, or are you guessing? I'm like, no, I'm guessing. I'm totally guessing. And she's like, she got really upset. She's an artist as well. She says, why? Why do you not know this stuff? I'm like, because I'm a bonehead. So I'm going to work on getting that stuff. So it was nice to have her kick my butt into gear a little bit. But it would be sure nice to be able to tell you guys for sure how long these take. And since I only tend to, lately, well, I've been trying to get more painting in, but most of the time I've just been painting on lives. So I haven't, everything is always slower on the live. For me anyway. I'm interested to see if the video saves well. If it doesn't, then maybe we'll do a live on YouTube one of these days. I'll figure out how to go live on YouTube, and maybe that will allow me to do one like this again and save the video. So if that happens, we'll put it in the calendar and we'll do another live one like this. Thank you so much, Sumafu. I appreciate it. Oh, nice, Vic. Is it Vic Lynn? I apologize. I'm not saying it right, but yep. Hopefully this pattern helps. This sunflower pattern is definitely one of my favorites. I know that it's a favorite of many of you guys, so I hope that you enjoy painting this one. And please remember that the national flower for Ukraine is the sunflower. That's why we're doing this here. I have PayPal and e-transfer information. I will be the coordinating person. Vicky, okay, thanks, Vicky. I will be the coordinating person to donate any money raised or sent to me from now to the end of the day on Friday, and I'm going to donate it to either You Animals or to Humane Society International. Both organizations are working to get support, veterinary assistant foods to Ukrainian refugees in other countries and the Ukrainians that are still in their city. Maybe they can't leave. Maybe they are just staying where it's safe. And just making sure that dog shelters, animal rescues, zoos, they're trying to help them out and make sure that food and veterinary care get to them. So I'm going to be the middleman for that. So if you have, if you want to send any funds through me, obviously if you want to go directly through a different organization or something, please do what calls to you. But if sending it through me is helpful at all, then that is what we will do. All right. Now, I thought I missed one. Didn't I pick off a dot at some point in here? Yes, I did. I found it. Earlier, I had to pick off a dot. Is that the right one? Now I'm questioning everything. Oh, it's the wrong, I've got the wrong color out anyway. What's that, Zumafu? Didn't know what. Oh, about the flower? Yeah, sunflower is Ukraine's national flower. How's it going, Kat? How you doing? All right. Now, our next parts of this, so I'm going to switch the page on our pattern. Our last thing to do on this one is our swoops. So let's talk swoops, right? So the way that these are going to work is we're actually going to start, we're going to start with this one. So we're going to do the same kind of swoops that we did down here, where we're going to place the paint with the tool and then use our sharp tool to pull the paint into shape. And then for the 3 on each side, we are going to use likely the smallest tool, so the size 1 dotting tool, one size up from the straight tool. Swoops are scary. I might need to switch it up and use a different tool, but I want them to be smaller to kind of create that fan look. That's what we're kind of looking for. Absolutely, we can do a screenshot for the first page. Absolutely. So there is our first page. I hope so too. Thank you, Patty. Thanks for popping in and hanging out so much the last few days. Thank you to all of you for that. You guys show up. Okay, so now we're going on to row 21, and we're getting into swoops. Right? So row 21, 22, 23, and 24. So this one is our center swoop. We're going to use yellow number 1, which is our darkest, and we are going to use a size 7 for this one. Okay? You're welcome, Cindy. Yeah, it's strange. I think it'll be much easier once I have the pattern already ready to go. Doing it on the fly and not have anything written down is a little odd. It's very, very odd, actually. All right, so we're going to use DIY 7, and we're going to grab our sharp tool again to pull the swoops down into the shape, and we're going to grab our darkest yellow. And depending on how the alignment is on your piece, I want to kind of just round this out now, right? Because I've got all these big gaps in here. So what I'm going to try and do is when I place the dot, I'm going to kind of try and picture a curve from the peak of this petal over to the peak of that one and see if I can't be at least on that or maybe outside of it just a little bit. Just a little bit. So let's start with that. I'm going to go right about here. All right, I'm going to grab the tool. I'm going to pull this all the way down to come to match up with the peak of the petal from the row before. If you need to add more paint, don't hesitate to do that. Make it as smooth and easy for you to work with as humanly possible. So I want to add a little bit more paint there, so I'm going to dip the tool and I'm going to just drop some paint there. You're doing okay though, Kat? What are you making today? All right. So I'm going to do the same in this bottom corner, right? So I want to, actually, we'll just keep going around this way. We'll start with this one. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? This is where it's going to get tough to find somewhere to kind of grab on and do a handhold. So we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to open up all of my yellows. We're going to do the center swoop, and then we're going to do the surrounding swoops before we move on to the next section. I think that that's going to make it easier because there's going to be a lot of spots where we can't put our hand once we start getting these swoops if we just go one color at a time. So I'm going to go in with, so we use the size 7 and this one to pull the swoops down into their shape. Now alongside it, I'm going to use this small tool. This is the one that I call dotting tool number 1, my one that is just slightly bigger than the straight tool. Okay, so we're going to use this one. Lots and lots of paint. I'm going with the dark. My dark is very, very thick, so I'm not going to go with too much paint. And then what I'm going to do is I want to kind of start right about here, and I'm going to go very, very slowly. All the way down to the point like so. Okay, go super, super slow. This is where it gets more difficult, right? Because this is where we're running out of places to put our hands and support ourselves while we're doing this. Oh, thank you, Farms CMCF. That's so kind. Thank you. All right, so now we've got those ones. Oh, thank you. And now we're going to go to the medium yellow, and we're going to do the same thing. Thanks for the panda, too. Same thing, going to try and pull up a lot of paint. And just super, super slowly. The slower the better. If you think you're going as slow as you possibly can and your swoops are not turning out the way that you want them to, I hate to tell you, but it might or likely will mean that you're still not going quite slow enough. You want to make sure there's lots of paint on here. We get that nice back filling. I'm actually going to open up the dark yellow again because I'm going to fill that in. Lots done while you were spending money. Did you buy anything fun? What'd you get? What'd you get? Just adding a little bit more paint here to fill in some of those little holes. Now we're going in with the lightest yellow, and that'll be for the last swoop here. Ding-ding-ding. I think I'm actually using the wrong size tool. So I'm actually going to go up to the number 2 dotting tool. We can fix this one. I'm going to go up to the number 2 dotting tool, the one that we used towards the outer rows of walking dots in the petals. There we go. Salvaged! Yay! Winterama and Michael's. Ooh, nice. Very nice. All right. So this is the alternative. When you get to a point where everywhere you grab, there's going to be some paint and it's going to be really difficult to find a spot to hold on to, that's when you want to look at how much can I do on this before I even turn the piece. Because the more I keep spinning it around and around and around, the greater the chance of some kind of negative contact, swiping, smudging, all of that wonderful, wonderful stuff, right? So we're going to go through and we're going to finish each swoop at the same time. So now I'm going to my size 7 tool again and my darkest yellow. And I'm going to put this right about here. And I'm going to add an absolute buttload of paint. Okay. All right. Sometimes I need to turn the piece around and when I'm using this tool to kind of come at it from the other side a little bit. That's good. That looks pretty good. All right, so I am, instead of using this tool now, I'm going to go up. Oops, it's not even clean. You can't even see it. I'm going to use this tool. Okay. So again, when we look at the 3 tools that I've used, all in comparison, so you can see how they compare to the straight tool. Okay. Compared to the largest tool, which is way up here. So these are all still fairly small, okay? So I'm going to go back in with my darkest orange, and we are going to do some more swoops. Here we go. I didn't switch tools for this swoop because it's the super thick paint. See if that smooths anything out there. What's up, Audrey? I could hear her stretching. Medium yellow. Oh yeah, this is where I switched my tool. Medium yellow. So take your time with these swoops. As slow as you think you're going, if you are not getting the results that you want, go even slower. I remember the first time I saw a video with swoops going the real time, it was an Art of Points video, and I was flabbergasted. I'm like, oh my God, that slow? Now I get it. Because I'd always had people tell me I needed to go slow, and I thought I was. So this is when you want to make sure too that if you are in the midst of this process and you get up to go get a drink or go to the bathroom, anything like that, if you've got your paint sitting out, you want to make sure that you close them up, because when they're open for a while, they're going to start to dry out, right? And because I have them all open because I'm progressing around the design, they're going to dry out a little bit. So I want to be cognizant of that. All right, keep going. Here we go. How are you guys making out? All right. So we are 10 minutes into hour number 4, at the start of hour number 4. We've been live since noon Eastern right now, working on this pattern, a full walkthrough. If you have just gotten here recently, or if you've had to leave and come back at all, just know that the recording, as long as it worked, here in TikTok, I will be adding it as my first YouTube video. So by end of day Tuesday, if all of this has worked, then the video will be available. If something happened and this hasn't worked, I will keep you guys posted. Okay. Yes, let's go here. Oops. And so here's page 1, Barb. If anybody wants another quick look at this. I'm going to scroll back so you can see that. That's page 1. Oops. And then, page 1. Okay. Then we're going on to page 2, and we're going to go here, and I got to write in, we're going to do shape with tool, and then we're going to go swoops on either side of row 21, and this is going to be yellow number 1, and this is going to be dotting tool 2, and this is going to be same. This is yellow number 2 and yellow number 3, DT2, DT2. So this is the swoops that we are doing now. All right, I needed to take that drink. I like this idea, but I feel rushed as well. It's a little fast for me. I like doing this, and I think it's a lot of fun, but I feel like this, I think I'm not confident enough in my ability to get it finished in a short amount of time, so I'm sure that I'm rushing quite a bit. So I apologize if that's impacting your experience with this tutorial at all. It's all trial and error and figure it out as we go and all of that good stuff. So hopefully this will help us learn what to do with the next one. So I'm going to pull this down. Awesome. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going in with my darkest yellow. Right, down either side, darkest yellow. And then mid yellow. You'll get to the point where you are you develop that muscle memory, right? Just like with everything else, that the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with it, the more you'll even be able to go faster in a lot of cases. Because you'll know what you're feeling for and know what you're looking for, right? So give yourself that time to practice. And then even when you're there, though, you will get back to a point where you have to slow back down again, right? And kind of start over almost. So just be patient with yourself. Especially when it comes to swoops, don't be afraid to pull back and slow way, way down again. You doing good, Jan? How's it going? That's awesome. All right. Let's go. All right, there we go. Totally digging it. Yay! Yay! Yay for happy swoops. So tonight is bath time for Miss Audrey. She's getting a bath tonight. And I gotta make her a new hoodie. But she's going to be happy because she's going to get a couple hours out of her hoodie tonight. So that's going to be really, really good. But so it's bath time for the Audrey, and hopefully I can cut her nails too. Not a good thing to give me an opportunity for insults. Yeah, well, so what's happened is a couple years ago, a few years ago, Audrey developed a patch on the back of her neck where she had scratched herself to the point where she pulled all of the fur out, and she had almost torn all the way through the skin, like to muscle and bone, and couldn't get her to stop scratching. Even though it had to have hurt, she wouldn't stop scratching. So we tried a whole bunch of different medications. We switched her food. They thought it was a food allergy, all of that sort of stuff. I'm starting to think now that she has an allergy to dust, because my apartment that she moved into, and this happened after she moved in with me, is very dusty. And add on to it that I'm a horrible housekeeper. And now that I'm living here with Mom, and when we were at the farm, it was dusty. Now that we're living here with Mom, it's dusty again as well. So I not only have to completely start to rethink my cleaning habits, obviously, and I've got a lot of big work to do here that's going to alleviate a lot of that. But so anyways, she wears a hoodie. So I make a hoodie. I used to make it with some moleskin, which is like a thick, fuzzy sticker that people put in their shoes. If you've got rough spots in your shoes, it helps to keep to cover over rough spots in your shoes so that you don't cut your feet all the heck and your feet don't get sore. So anyways, or if you have, blisters, corns, different things that you need padding and protection against, right? Anyways, so I used that because it kept the neck kind of, she always looked like she was this little kitty douchebag with a popped collar, right? Like I made it look like it was always standing up on end because I needed to keep her from scratching the back of her neck. So of course, once we move in here, doesn't she start scratching under her chin, completely subverting the hoodie process that I've been using with her that had been working really well for like a year and a half. So then I'm like, well, I've got to keep her away from scratching her chin underneath her chin. So what am I going to use? What's going to keep her foot around? So I started looking for like if I can get her a cone, I got to get her a cone of shame and put that on her and see if that at least gives this spot time to heal, right? So that if it's itching because it's healing, maybe it'll have time for that. And so in the meantime, I grabbed a couple pairs of socks, some stuffing from an old pillow, and created like this neck roll and tied it to and attached it to her hoodie. And so she walks around like this, perpetually carrying her travel pillow with her, essentially this donut around her neck. So I'm really, really hoping that over the next couple of months, I can get this place in tip-top shape so that she can hopefully, I think that's what's going to make a big difference, is to get this place cleaned up in the dust for her. The other issue, I think, is the gypsum powder. I think that she has a bit of an allergy to the gypsum powder. And I think that just adds to the dust, to be brutally honest. So hopefully we'll be able to get that situated, because I'd love for her to not have to wear that hoodie all the time. I hate when she has to wear it. The cat whisperer did help. Gave me some some pretty clear instructions that I need to chill out a little bit. I need to spend more time with her. I need to give her more time out of her hoodie and play with her a little bit more. She wants that attention, and that I need to sit down and do that as well, that she's doing it for me too, that she wants me to sit down. They had to tie Emily in the comb shame when she got spayed, right? It's bad. They don't like it. She doesn't, she did tell me, the cat whisperer did tell me that, she said, now, number one, the hoodie bothers you a heck of a lot more than it bothers her. So that made me feel good. She said she's not miserable. She's okay. She's quite comfortable. She's got her pillow with her everywhere she goes. It bothers you more. And that, yeah, she was happy, and that she gets irritated with the hoodie once in a while, but that overall she's happy. That's what they had said. So I'm really kind of hoping that, once this place gets super clean, I'm going to work on creating a pouring and mixing station for my gypsum in our storage room that's by our front door, and it's actually got an air seal on it. So I'm working on actually moving my table for pouring and stuff to go in there, so that any type of that stuff is contained in a small space that I can keep clean and hopefully keep the dust out and just stay on top of that. The big parts of the clean are going to make a big difference, like when we strip the linoleum floors, because the old sealer on the floor has just acted like a glue, and everything that lands on it just sticks to it now. So we can't even get it cleaned by running a Swiffer over it. We need to strip the floors and start over. So we'll see how that goes, but I think that that'll make a difference for Audrey over time too. And until then, the one thing that has worked for Audrey, holy crap, I went on a long tangent. The one thing that has worked fairly well for Audrey has been these medicated baths. So I haven't done them anywhere near as often as I'm supposed to do them. But I kind of do it now when she appears to need some relief. And usually that comes from her just not being able to groom herself properly, right? Because she's in the hoodie. And I think that's the part that bothers her the most. All right, guys, this is the last set of swoops. How are we doing? 3.5 hours, guys. When cat gets open wounds, the scab. Wow. Yeah, see, went away 2 weeks after I removed those items from the home. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go with that gut instinct then, because that's got to be what it is. So hopefully, because that would have been, when she got it, would have been right around the time where I started mixing with plaster of Paris at that point, which isn't that much different than gypsum, right? So it is, but it's not, right? I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Hide your ears. Ooh, when you've been sitting for 3.5 hours, sneezing is scary when you've drank a whole glass of tea, a whole glass of Pepsi. Oh, that's true too. I did start at 12:20. That's right, I did. So 3 hours. Right, but not anymore. Yeah, exactly. The things that we wouldn't connect. It never even occurred to me. That would be what was bothering her. And I even told the vet about it. They never even thought of that as a possibility. We had to go straight for prescription cat food. And that never settled well with me, because I know the people that she lived with before she lived with me. And she was not on prescription cat food, and she was perfectly fine. So I've got her on food that she really, really enjoys now, so I'm not worried about that, and I don't have her on the prescription stuff anymore. But the medicated baths seem to really help and to just keep her clean. And again, especially when she's not able to groom herself very much, right? So today is bath day, and then we're going to snuggle up and let her enjoy having some time without her hoodie on. All right, let's compare this one to the other sunflower mugs that I've done in the past. I think this one's up a little closer to the edge of the mug. than the other ones, and it's the alignment's a little bit different, and that's okay. It's kind of cool to see when it's a little different like that. So here we go. Let's see. So there we go. Another sunflower. I'll do the handle and the signature underneath, and we should be good. So let's go through again the dotting tools, right? Here's the different size nail dotting stylus tools that I used. Okay. Just so you can compare them to the straight tool, because all of these ones are a little bit different, right? They don't all come created equally, unfortunately. All right, and then we'll do another screenshot of the instructions for you. So if you want to take a screenshot, now is time number 1 for the screenshot. And thank you for the bless yous and the blessed poos. And now, page 2 screenshot. Please let me know if you have questions about this pattern. If there's an instruction that you are not comfortable with, not clear on, and you need some help, please reach out and let me know. Okay? And otherwise, hey YouTube, how the heck you doing? This video is on YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube. It's so weird. It's like talking in the future. I love it. I think that's how we have to manifest stuff, right? I got to talk about it. Say, this video's on YouTube right now. This is my first video on YouTube. I hope you're enjoying it. Do all of the things, click all the buttons, set your notifications, all that wonderful stuff. I have no idea what anything does on YouTube yet. It's brand new to me, so we'll figure all that stuff out together. This link will be posted on all of my social media as well once the video is uploaded, and you can access it again, so you can go through it as many different times as you want to. If you feel called to send money for me to put towards a donation towards either You Animals or Humane Society International to help people and their pets, animal shelters, animal rescues, and zoos in Ukraine, then that is where I will be sending that money. Thank you for your patience with me today when we had the little snafus, and I appreciate you very, very much. Bye, Shannon. I love you too. I hope this was good, you guys. I hope it didn't feel too much hyperspeed. I feel it with you, so I totally get it. But holy crap, we got a mug on a live done in 3 hours. That's weird. So weird. Cup screenshot. Absolutely. There you go, Janice. How's that? Is something happening with Mark and PayPal? Huh? I have no idea. Who's Mark? Oh, thank you, Holly. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Right, Shannon? I'm just zipping along. Crazy. You're most welcome. You're most welcome, Mima. Bye, Cindy. Thank you guys for spending so much time with me over the last couple of days. Oh, oddballs. No, that's my email address. Back in the day when I was going to make a business full-time out of doing polymer clay and crochet, I was going to call my business Oddballs. So no, that's just me. Make sure it's hotmail.ca as well. Oops. Dot. .ca. Oh, I thought it was Oddball Mark. You're welcome, Doris. Again, thank you guys for being patient. This is the first time I've done one like this. And I know it was super speedy, but I hope you were able to get what you can out of it to create a sunflower. And I hope you enjoy painting it. Thank you again so much. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and I'll post my live schedule for the rest of the week later tonight. Lots of love. Oh, thank you, Barb. Mwah. You guys are the best. Bye, Lori. Thank you. Bye, Sharon. Thank you. Merch thinking bio. Bye, Christine. Bye, friends. I love ya. Thank you. Bye, Sue. Bye, Jerry Lynn.